Today I want to show you something that is a little bit unusual, but how you can have a really low maintenance and attractive hanging basket using a hardy plant. Now, Heuchera is a North American plant that's been hybridized throughout the world. A lot of varieties come from America, a lot from France, and some from this country as well. But Heucherella is also from North America and is a hybrid between Heuchera and Tiarella. Both are woodland plants, and the hybrid between the two has produced a plant that, in my view, is probably much easier to grow than Heuchera itself. Now, there are Heucheraholics, people who are absolutely besotted by them, that collect this group of plants around the world. And the one thing that is fantastic about them is the variety of leaf colour that they provide. They flower, but the leaf colour is the big thing. They're easy to grow. And Heucherella, that hybrid between Heuchera and Tiarella, is even more easy to grow. And last year I went to Oregon and USA to have a look at a breeder there, Terra Nova Nurseries, to look at what they were doing with Heuchera and Heucherella and Tiarella. This plant was the result of my visit. I was inspired by what they were doing with hanging baskets. This is a Heucherella. This is called Redstone Falls. And when I came back, I put 3 little plants, no bigger than this one here. This is a different variety, but it's another Heucherella. 3 plants of this size in that pot, and or in that hanging basket, and just got them established, put them outside, and they've been outside ever since. These are hardy; they don't need protection. Now, I think that this hanging basket is going to give me good colour for perhaps as much as 3 years, and so I don't have to replant it twice a year. I'm not going to even plant it once a year. It's going to give me 3 years colour before I need to take those plants out and refresh the soil and put something fresh in there. But I'm not going to throw away the plants. I'm going to put them in the border in the garden. So this, I think, is fantastic value. So this is Heucherella Redstone Falls, and you can see it's falling down, it's trailing. It's actually a woodland plant that would root as it went along underneath the trees, underneath the canopy of trees. Now, at the moment it's a lovely rich plummy pinky bronze colour. In the winter that will change, and that's the thing about it, the foliage colour changes with the season, so it isn't boring in just one colour all the time. It is seasonal. There are others here that you could use. This is another Heucherella. This one is one of the very best. This is called Sweet Tea, and it has really fiery coloured foliage in the autumn, but at this time of year it's just beginning to change colour, and you've also got yellows and pale colours there. You've got a real mixture, and on top of it these little bell-shaped blooms that are produced repeatedly throughout the summer and into the autumn. So that's Sweet Tea. This here is Redstone Falls, the one I've got in the hanging basket, and as you can see, different colour. This is because this one was cut heavily back. All the leaves are removed to get a new flush of young leaves. So it demonstrates that the young leaves are different to the more mature leaves. Redstone Falls. And then we have a yellow variety. This is Yellowstone Falls, and you can see this is a 3-litre pot, and it has a splash in the centre of the leaf, a red splash. That's not so obvious on this particular plant, but in the spring maybe that will become more obvious. But what I'm going to do is to take it out of this pot and put it in this hanging basket. Now, I've chosen a hanging basket that's a wicker design because I'm not going to plant through the sides, and I like the look of the wicker basket. I think it's nice and rustic. It goes well with our cottage garden. So first of all, I'm going to put some compost in the bottom, just a little, because that's actually quite a big pot, but I'll leave plenty of space, and make a hole in the bottom there. Knock this out of the pot like so. There we go. Good root system, nice white roots. That's what we're looking for. Nice healthy root system. Roots right down to the bottom, so the compost is well drained. That's not surprising because they're growing in our own recipe of compost. That's Cleve Nursery multi-purpose compost that has lots of bark in it to get really good root growth. So we've got it in there. That's at the right level, just about flush with the top. It'd be nice if it were a little further down so that we leave a watering space. But hey, you know, it's a big plant. Push that down in. Now, a little bit of compost around the edge to fill it up. But before I get right to the top, I'm going to put some fertiliser in. It's just a bit more compost. And this fertiliser is all important. Remember that this plant is going to be in this hanging basket for 3 years. So it's going to need lots of feed. The fertiliser I'm going to use is Osmocote resin coated slow release plant food. Now this has been around for a very long time. It's excellent slow release fertiliser that feeds the plants when they need food. And the reason for that is each little granule stuck together in a plug form is in fact coated in resin. And it's a clever bit of fertiliser because when the temperature goes up, the resin swells up, becomes thinner, and the fertiliser can come out into the compost. But when it's cold, and the plants stop growing when it's cold, it shrinks and becomes a thick wall and the fertiliser can't come out. So what we have is high temperature, plants start to grow, they need food. The fertiliser reacts to it. Cold temperature, they stop growing, it shrinks, and it doesn't produce any fertiliser. So very, very clever bit of fertiliser. So that's Osmocote resin coated fertiliser tablets. And I'm going to pop in them they don't need to be touching the roots. I'm going to pop them in like so. I'm going to put 5 in there because remember this is the fertiliser that's going to last for all of this winter and into next spring. Now that in itself won't be enough for 3 years. I will need to add more of those next year and the following year. But that's so easily done. Just make a hole with a pencil and pop the tablets in. And then all the plant needs is regular watering, not lots of liquid feed every time you water. So we top that up with good compost. Right to the top. Give it a bit of a firm in. Make sure there's no hollow voids there of air. Not too hard. Right, now, here's the tricky bit. I've got to get the chains up without damaging the foliage. Here we go. One more. Let's get that underneath there if we can. Like so. That. Give it a bit of shake and it will settle down. Now that needs a good drink. Good watering, but you can see it's already beginning to trail, and in a very short space of time this gold coloured Yellowstone Falls Heucherella will be as good as the Redstone Falls Heucherella, and I'll be able to put one of those each side of our front door.